Hello everyone, welcome back and thank you for joining me again on another 5 bulbs that we can be looking out for in order to plant in early spring that will flower later on in the year. So I want to kick off by talking about Gladioli, and it says that we can start planting this between March and May or every couple of weeks for a succession of flowers that will flower throughout the summer into autumn. Now they have to be stake supported or caged, and I think they do look very beautiful, but they do get top heavy once all the flowers start to come out. So they do need that support. I think if I was to grow them again, I would grow them in a cut flower garden, obviously with the purpose of cutting. But I think with the support that they do need, I think it would be for a cut flower purpose for me. I have tried them with canes, and unless you hide the cane very well or whatever you're tying them on the cane with, it can make it look, the borders look a little bit ugly if you don't disguise the cane. But for me, I think I do like them, but I would grow them in a cut flower garden. It is recommended that we plant them in a sunny position with good well-drained soil, and we can improve the soil with well-rotted compost or soil conditioner. And generally for me, whenever I've planted anything in my borders, I always keep my borders with plenty of compost in them. And I think it helps improve the soil for all flowers anyway. And this plant is toxic to dogs and cats. And in fact, the most toxic part of the plant is the bulb. And the next one on the list is Lily of the Valley. It can be planted mid-March to April or mid-September to October, and it will flower from mid-spring to early summer. And I do have this plant myself. I have it in a pot in my garden. You can plant it in the borders, but I do feel it tends to spread a lot, and I wanted to control it a bit more, but I think it does look pretty in a pot as well. Lily of the Valley loves shade, and in the wild you'll find them in the woodlands or in dappled shade. They can adapt to any soil because they are an extremely tough plant. And as well with this plant, they are extremely toxic. And the next one on the list is Freesias, and we can plant these between February and May, and they will flower July to August. Although I think it depends on when you plant them, they can flower June to September. They do like to be planted in a sunny, sheltered position. They may need twigs for support as they do tend to get a bit floppy once the flowers start to grow. And I think they're ideal for beds and borders, and they will flower after 4 weeks from planting. Now I believe you can plant them in pots and containers. I've never seen them planted that way. I've only ever seen them in borders. This year I'm going to be planting a double variety fuchsia, and in the packets there's going to be the bulbs like that, and there's usually about 15 in a packet. I've planted the single variety before, but I've never had much success with them, so I want to give them another go because I think they're a nice plant. So I've got a double variety. And another little bit of information that I've read is that all the experts believe that all fuchsias are fragrant, but they all agree that the single variety of fuchsia is the most fragrant, with the colour white being the most fragrant of all. So if you're looking for the most fragrant and you can get hold of just the white ones, they seem to be the most fragrant of all. The other little thing I would like to mention is that we can't always grow fuchsias, and you do tend to see them in the shops. Obviously when you buy them, they're forced to grow, and you buy them, you're holding them, you're looking at them, and you smell them, and there's no fragrance there on flowers that would normally have a fragrance. And that's my only little gripe with it, is that when you're buying flowers, you wish they would adapt the smell into it, because you feel cheated in a way. And that's my only little grievance with it. I know they have to mass produce them and everything like that, but I just wish they would adapt the smell into it. That's my little annoyance, shall we say, with it. But apart from that, they're a beautiful flower. They're also not hardy to cold temperatures, so you'll find that you will have to dig them up and store them away. The good news is that they're non-toxic. Although they might upset the stomach in pets, they're a non-toxic flower, so that makes a change, doesn't it? And the next one on the list is lilies, and they can be planted late autumn or early spring, and they will flower mid to late summer. And although some varieties may not bloom until the following year, they do like a moist soil but do not like to be overwatered, and they can be grown in borders and containers in full sun. My lily that I have in my garden is grown in a pot. I don't know the variety because it was given to me as a present, and I've kept it in a pot in the garden. So when it's finished flowering, I let it die back completely, and then I cut it to about an inch above the soil every year, and it comes back every year. It's a lovely plant. I'll try and put a picture up of it to show you. I generally think that lilies are better grown in a cut flower garden or maybe in a greenhouse. Um, I think for me they look a little bit out of place in a border. I think they look far better in a pot, and for me easier to manage. Lilies are toxic to humans and pets, so be very careful because the entire plant is toxic. Even the water that you put your flower stems in is toxic, so be very careful. And the next one on the list is ranunculus, and you can plant them two different times in the year. You can plant them in October to November, so they will flower in March, or you can plant them in May and they will flower July to August. And I will be growing two examples of this. I've got an orange variety that I planted late autumn in a pot with some tulip bulbs, so hopefully around March time I might see some nice flowers from them. And I've also got a mixed variety here, and those are the little corms. They look like little dahlia corms, don't they? This is the mixed variety, and I will be planting these ones in my border, but I do think they are a very attractive plant, and they've got lovely colours, so I think it'd be a nice little bit of punctuation in the borders as well. I think it'll look stunning. I think they'll work well in a cut flower garden as well. They are half hardy, so they will need to be grown in a sheltered location over winter. And as a last bit of information, ranunculus are also toxic. And that wraps up my last 5 bulbs ready to plant in early spring. I hope you have a lot of success with all your choices, and I hope everything goes well with the planting. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. See you again. Bye bye.